So, Kevin, how damaging is the email chain that was released today to Donald Trump Jr.?
It is horribly damaging. I mean, just as an absolute. I mean, it's certainly damaging politically. It's damaging to whatever shred of credibility that anybody around the Trumps, still have. It remains to be seen whether or not it's criminally liable on its face. But, certainly it reminds me of Watergate, where it wasn't the break-in that caused the downfall of the president. It was the lies and the cover-up and the evasion that eventually took down President Nixon.
So tell me why you think it's so damaging.
Well, it's damaging on a lot of levels. First, yet again, the story has changed 3 or 4 times in 4 days. So they absolutely failed to tell the truth at the first opportunity. The idea that it was just a meeting about adoptions is laughable because the Magnitsky Statute has everything to do with sanctions. I mean, it was a tit for tat, between the U.S. and the Russian governments, where we sanctioned them and they took it out on adoption. So that's about sanctions.
Now, go ahead.
Damaging. It's just damaging at so many levels, and But I worry: are we so inured to bad behavior on the part of the Trumps that somebody's going to be tempted to say, "Oh, boys will be boys. They were just, it was like this frat prank where they thought they were going to get the goods on the alphas down the street." But this is serious stuff. I mean, but at this point, it's so serious. I don't know whether or not we're watching a farce or a dark drama. I mean, it's still on the edge. I don't know.
So yeah, because we heard from Senator Graham, who said that this is serious, but they're new to politics. I don't know whether they were trying. Is that an excuse? But you can just say, oh well,
it's not
they're
new
to politics.
I mean, it may be a reason, but it's not an excuse, because all it does is shows the arrogance, it shows the naivete, it shows the hubris, but it also shows this complete lack of depth and this complete lack of perspective that says, like your correspondent just said, if you're approached by an agent of a foreign power with damaging information about a former government official, you're supposed to call the FBI. And this is what they should have done. At a minimum, they should have done it afterwards, so that you could start to put together a trail on these kinds of traps that were out there. But between this, the attempts obviously to compromise the National Security Advisor, the leaks through WikiLeaks in the first place, I mean, the Russian government was breathless in its attempts to influence the American election.
Now, Donald Trump Jr. says that he released this email chain. This was just after the New York Times was reporting on it. So is that just a political move, and we shouldn't really read anything in that, or is that a smart move?
I don't know that it's smart or not. I know that it was a desperation move. I mean, it was an attempt to be able to see how transparent I am. And you notice there's nothing in these emails that said I got any information. And so it is absolutely tone deaf to the fact that it documents that the highest levels of the campaign were invited to a meeting on the pretext of hearing information from the Russian government concerning their opponent for president of the United States.
Is it important that Donald Trump Jr., as at least he says this, that he didn't get any information? Maybe his motivation was to get some dirt.
It's absolutely not germane at all, because what's germane is intent. I mean, intent is at the heart of criminal law. It doesn't matter if we're in Canada, the UK, or the United States. I mean, there has to be intent. I mean, in the old days, this would have been a crime called misprision of a felony, which boils down to you knew something bad happened and you didn't report it. In most states and in the United States, misprision of a felony is no longer a crime, but we still have a word for it, and it's still not good character, and it's still lying.
So I'll ask you, is Donald Trump Jr. in legal trouble?
I'm not a lawyer. I've worked with him for 30 years, but I would believe that he is on firm ground for hiring a criminal attorney to help him at this point. Yes.
What do you make of the president's response saying that his son is a high-quality person and applauds his transparency? That was a statement that was read out.
I think that if that's all he's going to say, then there's not much to be said. I mean, transparency is you release these documents before you've lied about them for a year and a half, or for a year rather. This isn't transparency. This is this is bailing out the ship. I mean, this is I'm trying to lighten the load so I can stay afloat. This has nothing to do with transparency.
One last quick question to you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but one last quick question. Do you think that the president knew about this email or knew about this meeting that his son had?
I think that at some point between that meeting and today, he knew about it, and that he did know about it before 4 days ago or whatever statement came out of the White House, because of the nature of the ties of the Trump family. I mean, one, they are unable to keep quiet about anything. Two, they are exceedingly close, which is one of the few good things you can say about the Trump family. And there is no way in the world that a meeting like this did not get mentioned between father and son. I just can't conceive of it happening.
Kevin, always great to get your insight. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andrew. Take care.